Was it only a matter of time before this happened?
I think that it's been something that's been going on certainly since I started as a young actress of 16, 17. In fact, one of the reasons my father, who was a theatrical agent, didn't want me to go into the business, didn't want me to become an actress, is because he warned me about bad men. I didn't exactly know what he meant, because when I, as a 16, 17-year-old coming into starting in movies, I was about as innocent as a 10-year-old today. We did not know anything about anything, certainly not the S word, So when I first started, and I did my first couple of films, when I first went up for a call, a sort of audition, just to play a maid. It was a Greek maid in a movie, and the director wanted me to pull down my top so that he could see my cleavage, and pull up my skirt so he could see my legs. And this was for a one-liner in a movie, which I did because it wasn't showing a lot, And I thought it was a bit strange. But then you sort of forget about it, because at this time I was also doing photography, and the photographers would think nothing of touching you here, pinching your bottom, slapping you on the bottom, calling you sweetie, honey, tootsie, lovey, anything like that, treating you like a box of candy.
What about when you went to Hollywood? Because
Hollywood. Well, the first time that I had an experience was with two very, very famous megastars, and it was at a party, and I was very new in town, and I was 21, but I was still quite innocent, and I was wearing an off-the-shoulder top. And these two guys, I mean, they were so famous, I can't tell you who they are because your lawyer said I'm not to mention any names.
Right.
And I said, because I wanted to make conversation, oh, I don't really like this music. And one of them said, and I don't really like this. And he grabbed my top, which was elasticized, and pulled it like that.
Oh, God.
And the other one laughed at me, and I felt so humiliated. I just ran away. But that was just a social occasion.
Did you end up sitting down and talking to Marilyn Monroe about it?
Yes, that was... shortly after that, I met Marilyn at a party at Gene Kelly's house, and I was playing in this role in The Girl in the Red Velvet Swing, and she said that she was considered, but she was too old. It was another one of those ageist things. And then she told me, she said, watch out for the wolves in Hollywood, honey. And I said, well, I've been in British films for 3 years, I can handle wolves. And she said, well, not the power bosses, honey. And she said, if they don't get what they want, they'll drop your contract. They've done it to lots of gals.
It did affect your career, because you did miss out on roles, and Cleopatra was one of those.
That was the main one. I had tested several times, and both the head of the studio, which was an old, very old guy, old enough to be my grandfather, he was an old Greek guy, he was the CEO of the whole 20th Century Fox, and the head, the CEO, well, he was the CEO, and then the head of the studio was another man. And both of them were after me and dangling the cherry, which was the role of Cleopatra. And I did about 4 tests for it. And at one industry party, I was dancing with the head of the studio, who was an attractive man in his 50s, but I am now 24 or 5. And he said, I would like to get you a little apartment. I'll come and visit you 2 and 3 times a week, and I will guarantee that you will get the pick of all the scripts at 20th Century Fox. And, I'm an attractive man. I said, but you're married. And he said, and he just raised his eyebrows. I said, and he said, you will also, I'm sure, be front runner for Cleopatra. At which point I said, well, I'm here with my agent. Let's ask him about the deal.
Yeah.
And I kind of walked away, and I didn't get the role. I don't know whether it was that or whether it was that they decided they wanted to get a much bigger star.
So it must have been difficult then, because the women that sort of were doing well at that time around you, you must have had that sort of feeling of, were they doing it because they were the best for that role and they were great actresses, or were they doing it because you knew what they'd done? I mean, it must have sort of taken the edge off it in a way.
Well, I was a little shocked hearing about Marilyn, because apparently Marilyn had been so abused by men and had done so many things to get roles that she hadn't wanted to do. And most of these men, Holly, were fat and old and ugly and hideous. You have to remember that when I came into the business in the mid-50s, these men had been in the business since they were young, in the 20s. So they were all old now.
What about the people around them? They must have been complicit. You tell a story, I think it was in New York, and you went to see a producer, and his secretary said, he's in there, and he was in the bath.
He was in the
She
bath.
must have known he was in the bath to send you in there.
Yes, yes.
A woman sent you in to him.
Yeah. Well, he was there. There's a famous old bath thing, and he said, you know, the first thing he said was, come on in. And I said, no, I can't. I've got a date. And he said, who with? I said, my boyfriend, Warren Beatty. And he said, who's that? I said, well, he's a new actor. And he said, why are you bothering to go out with unknown actors? I said, I'm an important man. Come on, get in the bath. Come on, we'll talk about this role. You want to play this role? It was a great role. It had been done by Betty Davis, of human bondage. And I knew I was perfect for it because I was English. And I said, well, you know, I can't get in the bath. I mean, I'm busy, I have to go. And then he said, how old are you? And I said, 25. He said, 25? That's not young in this business anymore. And that's when I realized there was also the age thing as well in Hollywood. 25 was not young, and 27 was the cutoff age.